This video is sponsored by Storyblocks. So, you want to be a YouTuber. You probably want a YouTube award, a silver play button for 100,000 subscribers, or maybe even a gold play button for 1,000,000 subscribers. Or maybe you just be satisfied with not feeling like your YouTube channel isn't growing. So, in this video, I'm going to give you 15 tips for small YouTubers that might help you if you feel like you're doing something that is hurting your channel. These 15 things are probably keeping a lot of YouTube content creators from being able to grow and get more views and more subscribers on YouTube. The first mistake that's probably hurting your YouTube channel is unreasonable expectations. Sure, everyone wants to get more views, more subscribers, and they want to grow a YouTube channel, but what is reasonable? What can you expect? A lot of people, they upload 10, 20 videos and they get really frustrated and hurt that they're not getting the views and subscribers they think their content deserves. They think they're making great videos. Why don't they have an audience? YouTube must hate small YouTube channels. And nothing could be further from the truth. The harsh reality is that you're not a loser and you're not necessarily like doing something that's so horribly wrong. You just don't have experience compared to the people who are on YouTube and getting views. Majority of the people who are on YouTube for less than a year are not crushing it. Most people don't blow up and get 1,000,000 subscribers in a year. That is not normal, even for the most successful content creators. A lot of you don't know that Mr. Beast made 100 crappy videos on YouTube when he first got started. They were not really good. He'll tell you so himself. And he got less than 1,000 subscribers out of his first 100 videos. Why are you ready to quit after a dozen or 20 or 30 not taking off, and the fact that you don't have 10,000 subscribers? Even PewDiePie, one of the biggest YouTubers of all time, probably the biggest solo content creator of all time, he made 100 videos and he got to 2,500 subscribers. That's it. He did not have overnight wild success. Marques Brownlee, MKBHD, his first 100 videos didn't even get him to 100 subscribers when he first started. So you need to treat this like a sport and realize you're a rookie. You have no business having expectations of dunking or putting points on the board when you're just learning how everything works in the first place and getting used to doing something really difficult. Mistake number 2 that's hurting your channel: not understanding your audience. A lot of people have no idea who their audience is when they're getting started. And that's okay. A lot of you are making content for yourself. You're making content for an audience of one. But like I said about expectations, don't expect growth to necessarily come from that. When you understand an audience, a community, and a culture, you'll be able to put the viewer first, which is what really matters. And you'll be able to make content people want to watch. But it takes time to learn that. You have to be paying attention, you have to be listening, you have to be part of the community and part of the conversation. And that exists outside of YouTube. You might need to be spending some time in communities in Discord, Reddit, Twitter, Facebook groups, or even in the real world and figure out what group or community or culture you actually want to be a part of and what conversations and content do they actually care about. That goes a long way. You just need to understand the people that you want to reach. And that's not necessarily an easy thing to do if you're not spending time with them. Mistake number 3. Most YouTubers are making this mistake, whether they're big YouTubers or small YouTubers, and that's paying attention to vanity metrics. In a very recent interview, Mr. Beast even said that subscribers don't matter that much. And I couldn't agree more. It does matter from a lot of different other perspectives, maybe even in marketing yourself, brand deals, and so on and so forth, but it's not a metric that you really need to be focused as much on. You need to be focused on viewer enjoyment. And that's going to mean focusing on things like retention rates on your videos. How many people are watching a video to the end? It's going to be focusing on things like a click-through rate. How many people actually saw this thumbnail and this title and decided not to click on the video? That is very important because it affects your performance. When you don't understand which metrics are important and which metrics aren't, and you focus on things like view to sub ratios, you get very twisted and you can get very anxious and you could feel like you're really doing something horribly wrong here when you probably just are focused on the wrong things for the wrong reasons. And what you really need to do is figure out which metrics are a way of telling you how you can put the viewer first. that would make a big difference for your channel. Mistake number 4, out of all the things hurting your channel, consistency is probably one of them. I really believe that whenever I have not been consistent on this channel, it's actually hurt my channel. Not uploading more has definitely hurt my channel, and not uploading as consistency has definitely hurt my channel when it comes to growth or the potential for growth. Now, I'm not saying you have to absolutely upload 2 to 3 videos a week. It would certainly help for a lot of you if you're making quality content. And so I think that if you can be consistent, not only in your frequency, but in your messaging, in your branding, and also in your overall quality and delivery, then that's going to go a long way, because viewers want content that they can rely on. And speaking of quality, that brings me to today's sponsor, Storyblocks. When I want to improve the quality of my videos, Storyblocks is my go-to secret weapon. Storyblocks has a diverse variety of footage across multiple subjects with unlimited downloads and even 4K video footage. And you guys know how much I love crispy 4K footage. They also have overlays, background music, sound effects, and After Effects templates that you can use. And these are available for you royalty-free for both personal and commercial use. Great for YouTube content creators and freelancers working on client work and projects. So make sure you're checking out Storyblocks and take advantage of the unlimited all access plan. I'm going to link to that in the description down below. Thank you again to Storyblocks for sponsoring today's video. Quality is important. Quantity is important. But what about focus? Focus is number 5. This is something that I feel a lot of content creators can't do as easily because it feels like they're sacrificing their creativity. But if you were to niche down, it means that you are focusing on what is clearly either performing or has demand or has a future potential audience. It's obvious that you should double down on the content that people are watching the most or respond the most to. And a lot of content creators have a hard time with this. There's a phrase in writing called killing your darlings, and that's what this really comes down to. And it's hard to let go of content that you're passionate about when the audience isn't responding to it. But at the same time, if your goal is growth, it's going to be something you're going to have to think about. There is plenty of content that I really, really loved doing on this channel, but it just, after a certain point, didn't make sense to keep doing it because it wasn't something that majority of my audience signed up for. It wouldn't make sense to keep doing it on this channel. If you're struggling with that, consider making a secondary channel or a TikTok channel that could be a way of expressing yourself and making that content and giving it somewhere to live. But you really should focus on uploading the content that your audience signed up for. You're going to see a lot more growth if you focus on the videos that people respond to, people subscribe to, and the videos that get the best retention rates and watch time, especially if you're trying to get your first 1,000 subscribers and you're trying to get your first 4,000 hours of watch time to monetize. You probably need to do more of what is actually working and growing if you want to grow. Not that complicated. Mistake number 6, holding you back. Chasing big YouTubers and copying them. Look, I get it. To some extent, it makes perfect sense to duplicate success where you see it, but you're not really duplicating success when you're duplicating content. You're not following in these people's footsteps and doing what they did. You're trying to copy and reproduce their results without looking at their methods, their thought process, or the intent behind what they did. You're completely ignoring the why, and that's probably where you should start. If you can understand why a content creator is making certain choices, then that can help you refine your process. But if all you're doing is just making a video because they made a video, then that doesn't really work. I mean, unless you're a reaction channel, but beyond that, yeah, it doesn't work. Chasing big YouTubers when you don't have their budgets, when you don't have their resources, and when you don't have their experience doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because there's just too big of a gap between where they are and where you are for you to think that doing the same thing will get you to the same place. That would be like, again, a rookie level freshman trying to do the same things that a varsity athlete or a college pro athlete is doing. It would not work out. So that's just something to keep in mind. You need to look honestly at your own starting point, the resources you have, the circumstances you have, and do your best instead of trying to replicate their best. Mistake number 7. This is a huge one that keeps small YouTubers small, and this one thing is absolutely keeping small YouTubers from growing, and that is the wrong mindset. Again, I know this sounds hokey, but think about it. A lot of people, what they will do is they will demotivate themselves and they will make it very difficult to keep going. One of the biggest barriers to success is not having the either motivation or discipline to continue through a difficult time. So when people hit a slump, when their videos are underperforming, or when they feel they're struggling for ideas, or when they see other creators that they started out with in a group surpass them in the same amount of time or the same amount of uploads, people get discouraged and then they really get bogged down. And then they are surprised when they're not making as high of a quality of content. You can't do your best work with a poor mindset. With a poor mindset, you can't produce quality work. It's just not going to happen. So you have to be able to really figure out balancing your mental health and your motivation and your overall levels of discipline. And frankly, you need a little healthy dose of stoicism. You need to be indifferent to the difficulty of being a content creator in order to get through those hard times. You're going to have to just soldier on and push through. And it won't always be a picnic. It won't always be fun. I'm one of the only people who's going to be super real with you about that, but it is necessary. And I'm not saying you should upload just to upload. I'm saying that sometimes you're just going to have to find a way to get through a hard editing session. Sometimes you're going to have to find something to jazz you up and motivate you and make you feel excited so that you can make a video. You shouldn't fake the funk, but you do need to take some responsibility for what your mindset and your process is really looking like. Mistake number 8, poor quality content. Look, when we talk about what quality content is, something that I think deserves its own video, I think we have to be honest about some things. There is the audio and visual quality, the lighting, there's all the things that have to do with that, the editing and the production. But then there's also the actual on-camera performance and the storytelling and the delivery, the confidence, all of those aspects of it. And then finally, people either like your personality or they don't. These things all represent the quality of a video because they represent the experience that someone has with a video. And that quality is very different than the value, the topic, the title, the thumbnail, the big concept idea. And I think a lot of you are mistaking the quality of your content in terms of the viewer experience with the value of your content in terms of what are people interested in, excited about, curious about, or emotionally invested in. If you want to talk about quality content, the measurement for quality content is the response in your comments, your average view duration, your retention rates. Those things are measurements of quality, not your views. If you want more views, that has to do with the clarity of the value and also whether people care about the topic, the idea, the concept, the spectacle. If you want to talk about someone like Mr. Beast, he doesn't make videos that aren't interesting to a broad group of people. When we look at the content we're making, if you're doing a vlog, you have to ask yourself, are a large group of people interested in this vlog, and why are they? And if you're doing something that might be some other form of entertainment, you have to ask yourself, why would people who don't know me care what I have to think or what I have to say about this thing? So the idea and concept of a topic is the value proposition. That's what determines views. More than anything, curiosity, spectacle, interest, attention, that's what matters there. Quality is experience. Once we click, will we stay? And will we like this enough to watch more from you? That's why quality matters. And if you're not focused on the viewer experience and you also don't understand the value that a viewer is looking for, that's going to hold you back from being successful on YouTube. I definitely can make a whole video just about that idea. Number 9, not playing by the rules. Look, at the end of the day, we are all beholden to the rules of the YouTube platform, whether that's the community guidelines, the terms of service. All of those things are important, and you have to understand that. You also have to not try to skirt the rules when it comes to things like this and getting monetized on YouTube by doing really stupid things like sub for sub or view for view or any of that nonsense. Stop trying to take shortcuts. It's just going to end badly in the end. I promise you. Mistake number 10, holding small YouTubers back. One of the things that does hold you back, especially when it comes to things like monetization and the partner program and being financially successful on YouTube, is not understanding copyright and fair use. Just because something's on the internet does not make it fair game, does not make it fair use. You really have to understand what fair use is. A lot of people get frustrated because their YouTube channel can't get monetized. One of the newer requirements for that is not having any copyright strikes on your YouTube channel. And so a lot of content creators, because they're insecure about what attention they can get or why someone would care about them, they try heavily to lean on copyrighted material when they're first starting out and trying to capitalize on things that people already find popular or interesting or something that they think can make the video better. And this is like something that a lot of people struggle with. There is a fine line and there is a place for fair use. But when you're just getting started and you're small, you need to understand what that is before you start playing with that. And you also probably are better off getting an core audience of at least a few thousand people that do care about you specifically. And that's going to be slower. It's going to be harder. It's going to take a lot more time than just leveraging what's already popular, but you're better off. And a lot of people just don't want to accept that because it is going to take longer and people are impatient. And if they're putting time into YouTube, they want to see results right away. Impatience has consequences. You can't make it any more plain than that. Mistake number 11, not respecting the viewer's time. Try to make your content as thoughtful as possible about respecting the viewer's time. Make sure there's something worthwhile in every minute of the video, one way or another. This could be pacing, editing, quality of information. This is something that I try to think about. I make long form content, but I try to make the content worth watching all the way to the end. I put a lot of information out there, but I don't think that I'm dragging it out in any way. And a lot of you say that you respect that. So just try to be thoughtful of the viewer's time. Even with these like top 15 videos, I'm trying to give you as much as I can in as little time as possible. Mistake number 12, holding small YouTubers back. Good content with bad titles. Or in some cases, also good content with bad titles and bad thumbnails. Nothing is worse for you than having amazing, beautiful, quality content that you package in the worst way possible. I am absolutely dead serious with this. Every time that I've seen a content creator that I'm like, wow, they should have more views, they should have more subscribers, they make quality content, this is so good, I realize that there's usually a very particular problem. It's bad titles or bad thumbnails or both. And that is like devastating. This is like really tragic. And by the way, happens to me all the time. I'm not really good at hyping things up or exaggerating. I'm really bad at clickbait. I had a video that literally got triple the views because I managed to clickbait the title right at the moment when like the video seemed to be dying in YouTube. I was like, nope, I've got to change this title. And I made one other change to the thumbnail. I went, instead of with a green background, to a red background that would get more attention. And the views went to the moon on a video that was struggling. I'm talking about a video that I don't think it couldn't even get like 300 views in a day. Started crushing it and getting like 2,000 views a day. It was insane. And when I realized that the only thing that was different about the video was literally the packaging, it's like it became obvious why that happens. And it's something I've lived with here on the channel for quite a while. You can see that the video views, they go up, they go down, and it's literally down to the title and the thumbnail. The quality is the same because I film these videos back to back. So the quality of the content is not impacting the views as much sometimes as the packaging of the content. And this is so devastating for small YouTubers because if they put nearly as much energy as they do into making really good content into a really good thumbnail and a really good headline title, their videos could perform 3x or 10x better. And I see it happen all the time. Tip number 13, not engaging with your community. Look, if you're a small YouTuber, try to reply to as many of the comments as you can. If you're struggling with this as a small YouTuber, just set aside 5 to 10 minutes a day, 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and evening, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Set aside 5 to 10 minutes and just reply to every comment that you can and engage with people. And if you finish early with that in your YouTube, do it in your other social media platforms. Engaging with the community is key. You might be the only person who responded to that someone throughout their entire day, and that would make a real difference. And that is the kind of thing that turns a casual viewer into a subscriber or even a diehard loyal fan. So please just actually respect your community and try to reply to things. And when you get bigger, just do the best that you can. 5 to 10 minutes, a couple of times a day, it really matters. Tip number 14. This is my own secret sauce here. This is the thing that really, I think, made my channel work long term. Make evergreen content. Make videos that are okay to watch even a year from now, even possibly 2 years from now. Make your videos not be dated as much as possible. Evergreen content isn't always going to be education or tutorials. I'm serious. It is possible to do this as an entertainment channel. Mr. Beast does it all the time by making videos that are fun and interesting to watch and not dated, like on a regular basis. You can still watch the Valentine's Day video he did for his girlfriend a year or 2 years after he made that video, and it would still be a good, entertaining experience and be worth watching. So sometimes having a seasonality to content can be good. Sometimes having evergreen content that is educational or not necessarily something that's a news topic unless you're a news channel. Like, you just have to think about what is the shelf life of my content, because with YouTube, if your content has a long shelf life, then it can keep growing your channel even when you're not uploading new videos. And this is what's so powerful about a content creator like James Johnny or even Patty Galloway. Like, this is largely what I feel makes these content creators more successful than a lot of other people, is their content can keep growing and growing and growing even in between long periods of not uploading. This is also a benefit of channels that do product reviews and things like that. So beauty channels, tech channels, even channels that review nostalgic properties in terms of video games and movies and television and media culture. One of my favorite channels is Captain Midnight, and I think that his channel is going to continue to be successful because he covers, even as a variety type channel, he covers a lot of different TV shows that are going to be on streaming services and syndication for a very long time. So exponential growth. Same thing with Emergency Awesome. There's just so much you can do if you have evergreen content in terms of longevity for growing your channel. It could really turn into a slow and steady wins the race type situation. And then mistake number 15, keeping you from growing and holding small YouTubers back, is not making shareable content. Shareable content is actually one of the smartest things you can do when you're a small creator, is setting up the type of content that even if it's a new viewer and it's somebody that's never heard of you before, they would want to share the video. It's going to massively expand your audience. And you have no idea how many people an individual viewer could share content with. Even if you get 100 people watching your video, what if 20 of them actually shared it? This is something I'm going to make a dedicated video about in the future, but I just feel like shareable content is a secret that most small YouTubers take for granted. And I think it could change the entire trajectory of your growth if you thought about why someone would share this content. I think that shareable content could be just as impactful or even more impactful for small YouTubers than searchable content. Something I'll bring up in another video. Question of the day: which of these tips do you think was the most important tip for you? Let me know in the comment section. I will try to reply to as many of you as possible. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit the like button. Let's set a like goal for 5,000 likes on this particular video. And when we reach that, I will do a breakdown of Mr. Beast content strategy. So let's go ahead and get that going. If you enjoyed this video, check out the playlist on YouTube Tips. And if you are a small YouTuber, you definitely want to watch this other video that I'm going to link in the description down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget, go out there and create something awesome today. Take care.